I thought being a midwife, it would be fine because I know about babies. Turns out I only really knew about babies up to day 10.
Hi everybody and welcome back to No Place Like Home. I am your host, returned Larissa, and I'm here today with Kath. Hi Kath.
Hello.
And we have the absolute honour of having someone that I've admired for a very long time now, Katie from Katie's Babies. Katie, you don't know this, but when I trained to be a doula, I did it with
Newborn mothers.
newborn mothers.
Who else?
Yeah, exactly. Who else? And you did the sleep module. And I remember there were so many light bulb moments for me listening to you through those modules. So just as well as learning through that course, I actually had so many moments of confirmation for how I felt through my early mothering journeys. And I remember sleep was such a horrible, traumatic time for both me and my daughter. And I remember there were so many validating things that you would say that, you know, I had moments of wishing that I had that time back and you were in my life then. But, you know, it is what it is. So yes, I have very much admired you from doing my doula course and learning through you around sleep. That really just changed my perspective of everything. So thank you very much for that.
Oh,
and
that's so lovely to hear.
Oh, you're welcome.
No idea about that.
And yeah, I'm so happy to have you on today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a
You're
treat
welcome
to come and talk about the stuff that
Yeah.
lights me up.
Let's get to know you a little bit more before we get into the incredible work that you do. Maybe a bit of background on yourself, sort of where you're from, how you came to be what you're doing now, family, work.
Sure. So I started my midwifery training when I was 18. So back in the hospital that I was born at in a town in Shropshire, England. So I didn't really move far away from home. I qualified at 21. We did the first direct entry midwifery for that area at the time. So we were kind of like an experimental cohort of students.
Okay.
So prior to that, it would have been the nursing and then the 18 months.
Dualed, but
Yeah.
single.
But I kind of knew I didn't want to be a nurse. Sorry.
No,
Sick people wasn't really my thing. And I just thought,
Okay.
let's go for midwifery. And this was available. So I qualified at the tender age of 21, which was the youngest qualified midwife at that hospital. So I felt pretty special, but obviously a baby. And then I worked, my favourite area to work was in community, and we did home birth. Back then it was just part of the public system. It was available there. Not as much as New Zealand.
Okay.
But it is an option there.
Okay.
So I loved doing all of that. But then probably about 5-7 years into that, friends were coming over to Australia. Katie, come with us, you know, come be a midwife in Australia. We'll have an amazing adventure. I'm like, oh, okay. Don't want to miss out. All right, I'll come.
and you're still ripe at that point as well. You're really under 30.
I was 27 by then. I'm like, yeah, let's go. My mum's parting words to me were, sounds like she died then. She hasn't. And when I was leaving, she said, don't fall in love with an Australian, Katie. I want you to come home.
Oh.
So what did I do? Well, he's not Australian, actually. But anyway, he lived in Australia. So this is why I'm still here. So it's the longest backpacking experience ever. I'm now 50.
Is your mum still in England or she's here?
She comes over here for 6 months of the year. So she's got half her children here and half there.
Amazing.
So then I did midwifery here, got married to my husband. I mostly did night shift work as a midwife.
Oh, wow.
Nocturnal.
Random, but can I ask what the transition from UK to here is? Because I know what it is to go from here the other way. What does that look like for you?
Oh,
did it look
interesting.
like?
So back in England, we had a lot of responsibility as midwives. You know, home birth midwives. There was usually 2 at a birth, but we could cannulate. We could suture perineums. This was just all part of our training. There was no certificate
Yeah, it was
for
just
being
part of
able
it.
to cannulate. It was just like, right, come on, we'll do a few, and then you're good to go. So when I came here, it was hard because I'd lost that autonomy to go, okay, we need a drip in here. Let's just go ahead and do it, and we'll tell the guys after.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
So
isn't it?
we'd be waiting to put up a drip on somebody, and I'd say, well, she's got good veins, I can do this. And they'd be like, have you got the certificate to do it? And I went, no, I haven't. No, you can't do it. Then we've got to wait for the doctors to come up and put it in.
So whack.
So she's waiting in the meantime to have her baby or to have or to have her epidural or whatever. You know, can we speed this along? No, we can't. And the same if, you know, perineal tear, a couple of sutures needed. It wasn't huge embroidery. It was just, you know, a couple of quick stitches. Oh, you haven't got the certificate. We're just going to have to wait for someone. So 2 hours later, she could still be sitting there.
Yeah, okay.
You know. That was frustrating.
So some things don't translate, basically.
I mean, they were very grateful to have us. So there's 3 of us midwives came over, and we started work at the Royal Women's, and they're like, "Oh, three midwives with pulses, come on in, let's."
Really?
Yeah, because we were happy to work full time back then, so that was a lot of hours. So there was no issue with the qualification side of things.
Yeah, okay,
that was
cool.
okay.
Yeah.
So it was hard getting over that, not having that autonomy and really having our practice scrutinised. But, you know, they paid us more money than in England. So I went, oh, well, I don't mind doing half a job for more money.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So interesting.
And then you met your now husband, around that time?
Yes, yep, indeed. So my travels around Australia started and stopped in Melbourne.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But it's all right because years later, after we'd had our 4 children, we took them all around Australia with the dog.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so we had 13 months in a caravan. 4 kids and a dog.
Oh, my
That
goodness.
tests you, I can say.
Yes, I imagine it would. So tell us about these 4 amazing children that you have.
Oh, well, one of them turned 18 yesterday.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, the eldest turned 18. So I've got an adult.
Wow.
Sort of,
18
kind of.
is the eldest.
18, yeah. And then, so that's Eva. And then we have Louis, who's 16. So he arrived 17 months after his sister. And then I have 13-year-old twins. Yeah, that wasn't planned.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about that. Wow.
What do you want to know?
Well, I think it's nice to know, considering your background. Well, what you do now is around sleep. I'm really curious to understand your journey with your postpartum and sleep. And did that inform the reasons why you are a sleep? Do you call yourself a sleep
I
consultant?
don't like to.
No, I
It's
didn't
like
think
being
so.
a tax collector or a parking inspector. People, yeah, they regard you with suspicion.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's such a contentious, controversial topic and it's much like I get it, but
I mean, we are obsessed with it when we're new parents. Actually, to be honest, even with the 4-year-old as my youngest, I'm still obsessed with it.
oh yeah, we're gonna
We can talk.
we're gonna talk. Yeah.
But I feel like it is just something that we all, you know, you have a baby. How are they sleeping? Are you sleeping?
no.
Like, what
Yeah.
does that look like?
Yeah.
So
Which implies that they might be sleeping well rather than just accepting that they sleep like babies, because that's...
Yes. Again, we'll get into that the next episode.
Yeah.
Tell us about your postpartum. Was it vastly different with all of your children, or did it look similar?
So I was trying to recall with my husband this morning because I knew you were going to ask me this question. Eva's postpartum. I don't recall an awful lot about it. I think I was just a bit of a rabbit in the headlights. I thought deer in the headlights, I think is the term. I thought being a midwife, it would be fine because I know about babies. Turns out I only really knew about babies up to day 10. And then I'm like, I actually don't know anything, really. And so I couldn't wait to get to my mother's group. But then, on my first mother's group day, which was actually 6 weeks postpartum.
Yes, which is
Eva
wild.
got bloody chicken pox.
Oh, that.
This big pustule on her head. Yeah, so she couldn't go, but I still went.
Oh, fair call.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was courtesy
Do you
of-
feel like you were somewhat yearning for that
I was.
connection with
But
other
interestingly,
mothers?
prior to birth, I thought mother's group would be a bit lame. I wasn't interested. I thought, I can't get to that.
So you didn't have any preconceived idea of what your postpartum, so you didn't plan for your postpartum.
No, I was just thinking about the birth like everybody else.
Yeah. Even, but it's so interesting whenever we talk to anyone who's worked in the field for a period prior to having kids, there's this assumption, I think, from most people that you go into this knowing way more than everybody else.
Yeah.
And we expect that ourselves as well. Like, I've got this. I'm a midwife. I've got this. Yeah. But it's a rude awakening for everyone, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, luckily I was okay with the breastfeeding side of things. That was fine. But sleep, I was very naive about. And it took me a long time to realise that I was like, well, how long is this kid supposed to be awake for? I don't really understand this. Like, yeah, so I think I was just not really helping her to initiate sleep. She was just, I don't know, just it's a foggy memory for me. But 18 years ago is a long time now as well.
Yeah.
Do your postpartums blend into one then? Or
No.
how did that look?
No,
for the
very
rest?
different.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Eva's birth was, I don't even know that I had a birth plan as such, but I was to, midwives who I worked with helped me birth, and I just thought, that was lovely. But actually looking back, it was a bit of a bossy birth. I was bossed around a little bit.
Right.
Lots of push now, keep pushing, get your legs up, get your knees up, get your, I thought, that's not how I conducted births. So then when Louis came along, I just want no intervention at all, to the point that I contorted myself to be able to do internal examinations on myself. So nobody had to
Do anything.
ferret around. Down
Wow. That is a new one.
there. Yes, absolutely.
Wow, good
Didn't
on
want
you.
anybody touching me, sat on a birthing stool. His waters hadn't broken at all, but they were there bulging, and the midwife was saying, I can just pop them up. Go, don't touch them. Yeah, but then it's a bit graphic, but I just had a bit of a vom at that point.
Yeah.
And it just went, psh, and he just surfed out.
Wow.
And it was the
I
most
love that.
wonderful birth.
Yeah.
And I had a very different postpartum because I decided to go into it a bit more open-minded. So with Eva, it was the hardest postpartum, I think, with Eva, because you just spend the whole time thinking, am I a good mum?
Yeah.
Does my mum think I'm a good mum? Does my mother-in-law think I'm a good mum? How do I measure up to all the mums in mother's group?
Yeah.
Whereas by the second one, I thought, right, I'm not listening. Oh, and there was a little bit of a exploration with sleep training with Eva. It lasted about an hour.
Okay.
Right.
Involved lots of tears from her and me, and a glass of red wine
Okay.
for me, not her.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great sleep.
I just thought, I'm not doing that again, and I'd got all the books on how to get babies to sleep, which are still on my shelf for a laugh.
Yeah.
But with Louis, I went, you know what? Attachment parenting. I'd discovered attachment parenting to the point that I was even doing elimination communication with him. So I'd done a complete about turn. So I just wore him all day long, co-slept in the bed. And he was the most chilled out baby.
Were you chill?
Still is. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like what we experience certainly in this space is if mum is chill, then usually baby is.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see that when you're in it. But yeah, the difference is massive.
Yeah. And Eva wasn't a difficult baby at all, but I do feel that she cried more than Louis. But I think that was because I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was like trying to get her to fall asleep in the cot, and she really didn't want to. So it was a bit chaotic, I think.
And then with the twins?
Same with the twins. So it's very hard to baby wear with twins.
Yeah.
Do that.
Stack them. No?
No.
Imagine.
One at the front, one at the back.
And then you rotate. No, obviously not.
Yeah, I used a lot more nappies than, my use of, because Eva had been cloth nappies, Louis had been mostly no nappies. Yeah, I used my full fair share of disposable nappies with the twins. I thought I need to lower my standard.
Wear in. Yeah.
Yeah.
My God. So you weren't planning that pregnancy?
Twins. I planned the pregnancy.
You planned the
I was
pregnancy.
going to have a home birth.
But not twins.
Not twins. No.
Obviously.
So I went for my 12-week scan. Oh, no, first, about 4 or 5 weeks, I phoned Mum and said, I feel really sick. Oh, God, I hope I'm not having twins. She said, oh, Katie, I always wanted twins. You're not having twins. There's no twins in the family. Don't be ridiculous.
Oh, my goodness me.
There are now.
Yeah.
Had my scan at 12 weeks, and I'd just been joking with a neighbour who was a twin just prior to that. Oh, she was trying to have a baby of her own. I said, if it's twins, you can have one of them.
That'll be very special friends.
So anyway, I'm there in the scan room, and even though I'm a midwife, I don't understand scans. But you see the head and you see the spine. I saw that and I went, oh, thank God it's not twins. And I saw one, and she went really quiet.
Oh no!
And then she goes, actually, you are having twins. And I thought, I don't know you well enough to be making jokes like that. That's a bit inappropriate. That's not funny. And she said, well, I paused before I said that because I wanted to make sure it's not triplets. But no, it is.
I can't imagine.
It's twins. And I still got the little picture of these two little.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a beautiful surprise.
And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, there was a couple of happy tears, but there was some just tears of despair as well. The thing that tipped me over the edge was I just remembered that Aldi doesn't do twin baby trolleys. I didn't know how I was going to deal with that. And Louis was already a bit of a runner by then.
Oh my goodness.
You were planning your fitness. Like, what does supermarket shopping look like now?
Oh wow.
So Eva was 4 and Louis was 2 when they came along. So yeah, it was a houseful. But it was an easier transition having them than having Eva still.
Ah, okay.
I always find it interesting when people say where their breaking point was, whether it was 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, multiples.
Yeah.
So interesting for you that even with the twins.
I just used to line them up a lot. If you ever look at my family photo albums, they're all in a row, usually with a bit of food in their hand. So I think I used to just think, Katie, you can do this. You've looked after babies in nurseries. You just used to line them up and feed them one at a time. And this is how we do it. Keep them in a row and it'll all be good.
Just a bit like cattle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you have that many children, you can't be one of those mums that kind of chases everybody around. You just have to like get your swagger on and go, right, children, come on, we're going. And walk purposefully, and they scurry after you like little ducklings.
Like little ducklings.
Like ducklings, yeah. But you've got to walk the walk to make them think, no, I'm actually going to drive away if you don't get in the car now.
Do you still do that now with your kids, or are they?
Look, Eva, my God. Always late but worth the wait is Eva.
Oh.
Yeah.
How old are the twins?
13.
Yeah.
13.
They'll be 14 in July. So, yeah, nearly 14. Yeah, so it's a house of hormones, especially as I'm 50 now. Fewer hormones in this corner.
Yeah. Wow. And sorry, I missed the twins are girls?
Boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl.
So 2
Okay.
of each.
Wow.
Yeah, which was good because I thought I didn't find out with any of them if they were going to be boys or girls.
Okay.
As a midwife, I always used to feel a bit of an anticlimax when I'd go, it's a girl, and they'd go, oh yeah, we knew that.
It's a shame.
Yeah. So I always wanted that excitement at the moment of birth. Yeah.
Do you use moments of your postpartum to inform the work that you do now, or do you sort of see that that was my own experience? And there's sort of 2 schools of thought on
Yeah, I try not to talk about my own experience too much because, and like I say in the newborn mothers, it's never, and like Julia says, it's never about you and you're working with. Occasionally I will, draw similarities in experience. But I think because I've experienced the full range of, having a bit of a dabble with sleep training, full-on attachment parenting, co-sleeping, to then just juggling all these children,
whatever
doing
goes.
whatever works.
Yeah.
I think we never have more answers than before we have children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got all the answers before.
I feel like it's so like it's not relevant to put your own, your own experience on someone else, but it's relevant to know that you've walked the walk when you're talking to someone and giving that experience. I think your expertise is important in that way, but
I suppose everyone's experience is different, and I never had any breastfeeding issues.
Yeah.
So I can't pretend to understand what it's like to have your nipples hanging on by a thread.
yeah. Yeah.
Razor blades and all that people describe.
Horrendous.
And, birth trauma and all that kind of, although, I don't know, I think I had a little bit, but in terms of normal births, I was very lucky. Yeah.
Before we finish up, Katie, we always ask a last question. What do you think about the current state of postpartum care and what needs to change?
I've got one word. Woeful. Pretty woeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back in the UK, we, as midwives, as the hospital, had an obligation to look after women for 6 weeks. Mostly, if they were well and healthy, they would be discharged on day 10. But they would be seen at home by community midwives, and they would be discharged at home on that final day. Even if, experienced mum and they might have only been to see her once or twice during that time, there would be somebody there to go and discharge her.
For the first 6 weeks.
For the first 10 days.
For the first 10 days.
But if there was a problem, either physically or emotionally, we would go and see her for up to 6 weeks. And I don't think that's changed.
Do you think discharge maybe like at 10 days they're okay, but can they re-engage at that point? Like if things start to be tough?
They could come back.
Yeah.
I think. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But
But there's still some sort of connection there, whether it's a full, you can go be readmitted or whatever that might look like.
I don't know that they had the facilities for postpartum depression.
Yeah.
That would have been the psychiatric unit. No, there wasn't an option for that there. So much as I remember it fondly, it still wasn't perfect. But when I had the babies here, I was really surprised that people didn't really. I had one midwife visit at home, I think, and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. That is for sure.
It could change so much for the health of the nation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That it's, why is it so woefully neglected?
And for me, from my perspective, it's really subtle changes. We're not talking about completely revolutionising the whole system. We can take really small baby steps and do small things within the current system that could make a huge difference.
I think it would involve a huge cultural shift as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not just talking about the health service. I'm just talking about family networks in general.
Definitely. I mean, we experience it all the time.
But then, we've got so much choice these days that we don't have to live in the country and the town that we were born in. And people like me shoot to the other side of the world.
Yes.
And live there. And there's not the family support around.
Yeah.
You've got to kind of create your own. But, asking for help doesn't come naturally.
No, that it does not. On that note, thanks, Katie. We're going to come back and talk to Katie more about the work that you do. I was going to call you a sleep consultant then, but I won't.
Guru.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that.
Baby whisperer.
More that one. No, I've been thinking.
We're going to torture you with all of the names. Anyway, we're going to chat about all of this in the next episode. But thank you for sharing your story, Katie. We really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for asking me along.
This podcast represents the opinions of our hosts and their guest speakers. Views and opinions expressed in the podcast are our own and do not represent that of our places of work. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and content here should not be taken as medical or professional advice. Please consult your healthcare professional for any personal recommendations and medical care. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we are sharing is accurate based on the best available information at the time of recording, we welcome any comments, suggestions or feedback via our website contact form, home.com.au/contact. Names and details of personal experiences may have been changed to allow for anonymity and privacy. To join the conversation, join us on social media at Home Postpartum.